Good morning from Hawaii. Thanks for tuning in to Keep Going Podcast. Today, I want to give a warm welcome to Wendy Wellness. First of all, I want to thank you for coming through today. So, Wendy, tell me, what's your 2020 been like?
Well, Lewis, my 2020 was supposed to be there in Hawaii for Hawaii 5-0 for my big 50th birthday, but
Is that right?
that is right. But some good things happened through my 2020 is not traveling and working as much. I've been able to focus on myself and wellness and fitness.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, when you're ready to come down here and travel starts to open up, I got you.
You got me.
So when you say you're focusing on your health and your wellness, I know you play a big role in the community. I've watched you over the years, the way you give back to the community through wellness and health coaching. What's that been like through COVID and everything? What's your experience been for 2020?
Well, I don't think anybody's getting out of our new normal without some sort of bruises or impacted in some sort of way. Some things have happened with my renters and them losing their jobs and not being able to pay rent. But I know that's a negative, but it also, because it's not just like happened to be a renter, that it's actually a pandemic, it kind of has some sort of like togetherness, rallying up with each other, if that makes sense. A lot of people have contacted me and kind of been like, well, how are you holding up? And I feel like that my life has been steps to prepare me for something like this, kind of like a warrior. So, and it's kind of the community feel. If you ever read the book, The Blue Zones,
I haven't, but I'll definitely.
It's a great book, and it talks about community, and that was the main thing out of all the areas of the world where they had the most healthiest and the elderly, the people that live the longest, and the healthiest living the longest. And the common thing was community. And I feel like even though we've had to do the social distancing and not really be able to see people as much face to face, I feel like with technology and everything, we've really been able to be pulled together with a common, disaster feel.
Right.
Yeah, so I've been focusing on my health, slowing down a little bit. And since the gyms are closed, I'm not teaching. I wasn't, now I am a little, teaching as many classes. So I just focused on my own personal goals. And it gives you a time to kind of reevaluate your life and reshape yourself, especially if you're in the wellness and fitness industry. You don't really get that time to work on yourself. You're always helping others more than working on yourself. So I've really, I hate to use the word enjoyed the pandemic, but I kind of have enjoyed the slower pace, getting back to the basics. Staying home makes you cook more. And I know that, I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's a thing called COVID-15.
Oh, no. That's new.
Yeah, COVID-15, and I work on that. What it is average person's gaining 15 pounds. So you can either become an alcoholic and gain 15 pounds, or you can take this time to master how to cook if you don't know how to cook, or start experimenting with more recipes, finding ways to do some different types of exercise, get creative, explore YouTube or other fitness channels, and get it done,
Oh, yeah. I have to say I'm probably cooking more now than I've ever cooked in my life.
Yeah.
And not because I'm inside more and going out less, but just because being closer in the kitchen, and wanting to eat healthier, wanting to not come out of this disaster underneath,
Yeah.
So
my biggest fear with 2020 with the virus was farmers not being able to farm and having to eat canned foods and processed foods, because that's the shelf life. So I had a little bit of worry on that, especially when the toilet paper thing was happening. Like, what else is gonna be? That gave me gratitude that we still have people farming and the food still there.
Yeah. Now, what would you recommend for people right now with being inside all the time? What should people cook if they're exercising less because gyms are closed? What would you recommend for people to cook to keep them on a healthier diet, as far as not gaining too much weight, and but still being able to eat a good meal?
Right. Well, I don't think because the gyms are closed, people should be exercising less. It does take a lot more motivation inside yourself to exercise, because you're not having somebody in the gym either motivating you or taking a class. So it takes a lot of self-power. So definitely keep your movement going. There's actually some studies showing some good, like, real studies. You don't want to just read any study, but the ones that are identified as research-based from universities said that the best way to keep your immune system up with or without COVID, in other words, prevention or to help with COVID if you can, if you don't have a severe case, is exercise. So, and the other thing is with, like you said, the nutrition. So what are you going to do with nutrition? What should you be cooking? What should you be focusing on? And that's the one area during the pandemic that doctors that I work with say that's what you should be doing. People always say, what do we do? What do you recommend? What should you do? It's like, well, you need to take care of yourself, your health, eat right, exercise to stay well in your immunity. So getting those fruits and vegetables, the whole foods, try not to eat anything out of a box or a food label. If it's, processed by our hands, most likely it's been defortified, and you don't want to have that. You want things to be whole. Don't want to take as many pills. You want to try to get the foods from the food.
Foods from the food. Taking notes.
Yeah. Food is thy medicine. Some of the things that I've been taking is, if I'm not getting outside, I do take vitamin D sometimes. Elderberry syrup, if you're not going to be able to make your own elderberry syrup, and believe it or not, there are people who do make their own elderberry syrup. Zinc, if you're not going to eat those foods with zinc, make sure you are taking a zinc supplement. And then vitamin C, but it's better to have the real fruit, because the vitamin C pill cannot be exactly copied. So when you're eating an orange, you're getting the pulp. When you're taking a vitamin, so you're not just getting vitamin C, you're getting everything that comes in with it all together. So you really can't, just like you can never make another Lewis, never can make an exact Wendy. You can try to replicate having good kids, but you can't have the exact.
That's a valid point. Less pills, more oranges.
Yeah, less pills, more oranges. Yeah. And during this time, it's about, people are joking and saying it's like Groundhog's Day every day, over and over. And I kind of laugh. I'm like, but that's consistency. I mean, yes, of course, you don't want the exact same day over and over, like every aspect of your day. But what a blessing it is that we get Groundhog's Day again, like consistency. Without that, you have nothing at all. You don't achieve anything.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. For some of us that don't know what Groundhog's Day, the way you're referring to it, what do you mean by that?
Movie.
I figured so. I just wanted
to. Chevy Chase and Groundhog's Day. He wakes up every day to the same day. Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. But life is about balance, If be kind, but don't let people abuse you. Have trust, but don't be deceived. Be content, but don't ever stop improving yourself. Be healthy, but don't be a crazy nut where you're not gonna ever eat out and be social with your friends when we're allowed to, and eat some chicken wings or something like that. Exercise, but don't go out 4 hours one day to exercise when you haven't been at all. It's about balance, and it's about the consistency.
That's that you got me lost for words there, because you were just like spot on with that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was like out of a book. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Now, what about so recently I know you've been really crushing the acro yoga, and that seems like your new thing. So what was it that got you into? I remember the day we found out about acro yoga. We were in the elevator at the Beacon.
Yep.
And I was supposed to be your acro yoga partner, and supposed to be. But since then, you've gotten awesome at it. So tell us a little bit about acro yoga.
Yeah, well, that day in the elevator, they weren't going to come to my yoga class.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why aren't you coming to my yoga class? And I see your yoga mats in your hands. They're like, we're going to, acro yoga, green bench. I'm like, oh, so it's the beer. They're like, well, I mean, yeah, you can have beer after acro, but it's actually, they really liked it. It was fun. It was, and then of course it was a couple, and they said, encouraged me, no, you can come no matter what. And that's like weird to try something that you have to kind of hope that there's somebody there. You don't have to bring a partner, but at the same time, it's better, if you do. So I never did. It took me a year, and then finally I just said, you know what? They said you don't need a partner. I'm just going to show up. So I just showed up, and the teachers are really nice. It's again back to the blue zones in that book. It was a community, so it was just classes and people and teachers and nice, and people sharing what they know and building trust. I don't, as a been independent for many years, I don't like to have to need anybody. And in acro yoga, you have to need another person, or you cannot do acro yoga, because acro yoga is with two people doing body stuff together, whether it's counterbalancing, it's lifting each other, therapeutics, standing. It's all different levels. So I like that. It forces you to learn to trust and to care and be kind and safe. It's just a well balanced. So it really helps shape me as a person and keep my good parts going. Not just physically with corrective exercise and kinesiology, because it's just really good to do overall as a form of exercise, but also shaping your character and staying, well mentally and physically.
Yeah. When I went with you the last couple of times, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. And especially Chris, man, the guy he does magic. Whatever that therapeutic acro yoga technique is. I mean, you saw me.
Healing. It's healing.
Yeah, I was basically comatose in the air.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now, have you? Is that something that you will maybe get into, performing the therapeutic part of acro yoga, or are you focused more?
With the way the pandemic and the virus is, we're not really on that level right now as a community, even though as of Saturday, communities all over the world, actually not just the United States, have come up with a protocol for acro yoga with masks and hand sanitations and things, so it's appropriate given the CDC guidelines. But I don't see myself in that space with me using it as a modality in the near future. And then but like as a hobby and as a volunteer, yes, in the future, but it won't be anything because of my main responsibilities and consulting and what I do for my main job, and I already teach. I'm kind of going to let that be like a way to give back to the community. It's, everyone's always asking, donate to American Cancer Society, donate here, give your money here, give this. And for me, I just would prefer to help people with my time and, healing and introducing them and empower them. I met a guy the other day that did did it with a lot of encouragement from me. And I know when someone's not really going to want to do it, but I can also tell when someone wants to deep down inside. So I just give a little bit of real hard push. And now they are out of depression. They're part of the community. They keep showing up, and it just changed their life. And it was literally 10 minutes, and it reshaped the life. So I like that. That makes me feel good, and it's my part of giving back.
Yeah, it's the little things that matter.
Yeah, depression is real right now, and people are really suffering without physical touch. They don't get the oxytocin, and they're not feeling good, and so this is a way to help fight that depression and the loneliness that's a real big epidemic right now.
So what would you say for these people who are depressed, but maybe aren't willing to do things like acro yoga? What would be another alternative for them?
Yeah, well, my aunt, she's a dietitian, and she's been a health coach for 40 years. And over the years of her life, I've been asking her, because she's towards the end of her life she has the cancer gene. So I've been kind of like, picking her brain to take things that she really has seen over the years in the wellness industry and fitness and health. And as a coach, her biggest thing, 2 things she said over the years that people need to be successful. They need to get in the kitchen for their food. 80% of it is food. So they really need to find a way to enjoy cooking, or at least knowing how to prepare those meals. And then small wins. Celebrate. And that doesn't mean celebrate it with a bottle of tequila, but acknowledge that you showed up and you did it. You did that yoga class that you said you were going to do. Celebrate, stop, pause, sit in your stillness and, congratulate yourself, but no, you're congratulating in a form of keep going. And just, people can be very overwhelmed when they're depressed. Getting out with that sunshine and then the environment. So I have a friend that their daughter died age 29, and she spiraled into a dark hole of drinking and depression, and she found Facebook meetup groups to help her get out of her depression. Well, those Facebook meetup groups eat and drink. So she's got out of the house, so that was a win, but she got out of the house, and now she's the heaviest she's ever been, and she's drinking even more. What really you want to do, and then she realizes that she needs to not be around those kind of people, even though those kind of people are not bad, but she needs to be around, she needs to find her tribe. Acro yoga might not be for her. It could be. So she needs to find her tribe. And then so she's trying to find her tribe, and she joined other types of groups that were like kayaking and biking. And then she messaged me. She said, "But they're not fast enough. I need a little bit higher." So it's like, so she has her activities now. So it's really trying to find the right group of people in the right environment to keep you going, so you don't fall back and slip back into deeper depression.
And it's a beautiful thing too. It's a beautiful thing when you've got people to tell you just keep going, just keep going. Because I don't know if you remember a friend of mine that was with me back when I lived in the Beacon. And he was suffering, from some disorders, and it's not until recently, and I mean very recently, and that was 4 years ago, that he's finally made the decision to set that all aside and keep going forward, and is now seeing the progress. He was backed into such a corner that he kind of just catapulted out, and so now looking at him, it's almost surprising that he even did it. And just telling him just keep going, just keep going, keep going, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I have
need
a
people like
accountant.
that, like you.
Yeah. Yeah, I have an accountant that's 75 and he severely obese, major problems, cancer, heart attacks, pulmonary, hard to breathe, just everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then every year I do my taxes, Wendy Wellness, I need to listen to you. And I said things. Finally, one year, he decided. And he is in the best shape of his life and off all the meds and is not overweight. And I asked him, what could I have said that, that twice a year I saw you? Like it wasn't me, because you did it in between the months I saw you. So it wasn't me that said something. What is it? He's like, it comes from within. There's nothing you can really say. Of course, you can send positivity, and that does help better than negativity and being a bad example. But it really comes from within. It comes from within, and setting those little goals and keep going, and knowing that like a bow and arrow, you're gonna have to pull back that arrow, maybe re-aim and shoot it again. And like you said, your friend catapulted forward. He was just ready. There's stages of change. There's pre-contemplation, contemplation, then there's action, and there's maintenance, and then there's relapse. Then there's wherever you go back again. So it's important to have the foundation of environment, people, and then growth, knowing where you were and not getting back down to that dark hole. If you're an alcoholic and you're a recovering alcoholic, make sure you don't have party friends every Friday and Saturday night that are texting you to go out. Have those friends that are texting you to go to acro or regular yoga or bike ride, or away from that.
Right. You want the influence. Yeah. You don't want to indulge.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. That's good that you touch base on that too, because that alcoholism is a huge deal, and there's a lot of people who just don't know where to start, let alone why. And so they don't realize that if they change the environment around them, it'll make it. It's still going to be hard, but it'll just make it a tad bit less hard to actually stay on the track.
Yep.
That's good. What would you say? Do you have any words for people who are suffering from maybe I guess bipolar and depression is along? Would you say those are along the same lines?
Yeah. Don't. The self-talk is big. Someone you care a lot about. Would you talk to them the way you talk to yourself inside? And what would you tell the favorite person in the world? And then evaluate those exact words that you're saying to yourself, and try to pretend if you don't love yourself and think you're good, try to have that self-talk be more positive. And there's in the wellness industry, there's a thing called fat shaming. All these trainers and non-trainers, just anybody healthy, or even the people who used to be overweight, they now they do fat shaming and negativity, and making people feel bad by saying how easy it is, just do it. Nike commercial. Well, it's it's not that easy. But there's so much out there. You just have to find your own formula. You're the CEO of your own body. This is our bodies. We only get one this life. People take better care of their cars sometimes than their own body. We take every day for granted. If you were to think about third world countries and what they have to deal with every day. And I was just talking to a friend in Iran, and he's like, oh yeah, 2 hours away from home. Like, why? Oh, I wanted to take this course for 3 weeks. So I traveled 2 hours to it and 2 hours back home. And it was like not a big deal. People won't even travel 30 minutes for something these days. So just reshaping your mindset, reshaping really what it is you really want, positive self-talk. What can you really truly do? What can't you do? What's programmed from our society? The can'ts, the shoulds. That's really what I would say. I mean, you got to find your own path. No one, including me, can really help fix anybody, you know? We have to figure that out ourselves with the tools that we're given and the people like you and education, information.
I think it all goes back to that self-power you were talking about. Yeah. I mean, wow. I mean, you got me a little lost for words here, but I'm still plucking them out.
I talk a lot. I go all over the place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know that, but you know, when you talk, you talk, and everything you say has a purpose, and it has a reasoning, and it has a, you know, and it just has positivity in it. Ever since I've met you, you know, when we were working out 4:00 in the morning,
I know, right?
It didn't matter what, even if it was a negative topic, we found positivity in it.
Yep.
You know? Yeah.
And just I had this quote I saw today by Nina Hoffman, Hoffman is one of my family's names, not mine, but I'm a Weaver. But it says, "May your coffee be stronger than any challenge you face today. But if not, remember, don't throw your cup at anybody. Don't throw it at anybody, okay? You need it to refill. So keep that cup. You need it for a refill." So we have a lot of anger. We have a lot of blame within ourselves and at other people. You might not, you know, you might face a challenge today that you're not prepared for. Your coffee wasn't strong enough, right? Just don't give up. Keep that cup. You know, you're gonna need it.
You have to send me that quote. I'll have to keep that one. I like it. Yeah. So what would you say are your goals?
My goals going into the new year. I don't want to go back to being normal. No, I want to go back. I want to go into 2021 just with appreciation and remembrance of what I had in 2020, the things I didn't get, and also things I did get. And just, you know, don't be so negative on 2020. There's a lot. And just try to just remember on the forefront the positives. For me, it's the self time, the slowing down, being more in stillness. Because I think I want to keep that part more. I'm not going to always, but I want to have a little more stillness and self-care. Because if you don't take time for self-care, wellness, nutrition, even I have goals that I need to do better at, then our bodies will be given out, and then you'll have time for the dis-ease. So my goal is to stay healthy and continue to walk the talk, including slowing down the walk.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Listen, Wendy, I always loved everything about you when it comes to your mindset and your approach on life. I thank you for taking the time out of your day today to join us today and speak positivity for our listeners. I would love to have you back again sometime, whenever you have time in the future, and to do this again, because I've always felt like you had something to say that could spread awareness for the better of the people.
Yes. Thank you, Lewis.
Well, hey, I want you to go out there and enjoy this. So what is it, Labor Day? Today's Labor Day, isn't it?
Yeah, we're laboring on Labor Day. That's something I need to change. That wasn't perfect.
Well, just make sure you enjoy some of that sunshine over there in Florida.
I will. Enjoy Hawaii.
And thanks again.
Tell Hawaii I'll see it. Tell Hawaii I'll see it in sometime in 2020 something.
Well, Hawaii is not going anywhere, I hope. Sweet. Well, thanks again. Enjoy your day, and we'll catch up.
Okay.
Cool.
Bye.
All right. Bye.